I really don't think people realize just how bad the fixed and racist beliefs can be about people with sickle cell. Sickle cell is a devastating condition that affects multiple aspects of life and causes a lot of pain and medical complications. Yet I often hear from Black people living with it that their pain and their experiences and their own knowledge of their medical history is not being believed by medical providers and employers. It's simply not good enough. If it was just a matter of skepticism, I could kind of understand, because as bad as it is, sickle cell is an invisible illness, and you can expect that there would be some ignorance. However, what's really unforgivable is that healthcare providers and employers are so fixed in their belief that sickle cell isn't an important condition, isn't severe, isn't a long-term complex chronic disease, that they go as far as accusing people living with it of fabricating medical evidence and making stuff up. Can you imagine how much you'd have to not believe someone to think that they've gone through the effort of producing fake medical records and hospital admissions with the names of real medical staff and their signatures? They would have to spend a lot of time researching this to be able to present it in such an organized way. Just for what? To spend weeks getting treated like shit in hospital, or to have a few extra days off work? Is the world really so ignorant of sickle cell that these are the kind of thoughts that well-respected professionals in high up positions believe? And okay, this is going to be a longer video, but this has been going on for the past 100 years since sickle cell was discovered. This isn't actually new. There were scientists in the 1920s that were first discovering cases of sickle cell. And because racism was so popular and ingrained in society at that time, it's basically just ran from there. So the first handful of cases they saw in Black people, and there was one guy in the US, I can't remember his name, but he made a comment like, I've seen 4 cases of sickle cell and they were all in Black people. Sickle cell is a disease that only Black people get because they're inferior to white people, and that was the underlying belief. So following this, other scientists eventually start seeing sickle cell in white people around the world. And instead of being like, oh, how interesting, sickle cell appears independent of race, they basically scrutinized the findings and were like, these aren't sickle cells, they're something else. And then when the other scientists were like, oh no, they actually are sickle cells, they were like, well, they still didn't accept it. So they started tracing back the patient's family history for like 6 generations to try and find a Black ancestor. And then what's really crazy is that when they couldn't find a Black ancestor, especially in like Italian and Greek populations, they basically made up this new social construct called the apparently white person. They just made it up. So they were basically saying to these apparently white people that because of our incorrect beliefs that sickle cell only occurs in Black people, even though you're objectively white and we can't find any other evidence of Blackness in your family history, you're not white. You just look white, you're apparently white, but you're actually Black because you have sickle cell disease. Can you see how crazy that is? This is the kind of nonsense that people have been believing for years, and it takes so long for these beliefs to be overcome, and it causes so much unnecessary suffering. And a lot of it is because people are so desperate to hold on to their racist beliefs and aren't willing to just open their minds and treat all human beings as equal, because that's all that it would take. Just accept that all human beings are equal and life becomes better for everyone.